Irons Supporting Food Banks collects food and cash donations for needy families in Newham Borough and beyond. Please consider making a donation via their Just Giving page, the link for which you will find in the description section of this stream. Come on, you Irons.
West Ham are massive, everywhere we go. West Ham are massive, everywhere we go. Everywhere we go. West Ham are massive, everywhere we go. West Ham are massive, everywhere we go. Everywhere we go.
Hello, welcome to the West Ham Massive. Thanks for joining us. Please don't forget, if you're new around here, to please hit subscribe and don't forget to drop a thumbs up on this stream. So the first thing I want to do is I want to obviously say that obviously the situation that unfolded on Saturday regarding Michail Antonio, I think it goes without saying that we obviously wish him a full and speedy recovery, and it was obviously a massive shock as the news was coming through and various reports. There was some real sort of like some horrible reports that were coming out that were thankfully not true, and hopefully he can make as I say, a full recovery. For now, it puts football into perspective, and for him, he just needs to concentrate on a full recovery, and I hope that he can, you know, hold his children and do all the things that a family man should be able to do, and live a normal life. So yeah, just wishing him well is pretty much where we're at with that. As for the rest of this video, just to sort of get it back onto more football-centric matters, if we can. This is something. This is more an opinion piece. It's not something that's actually out there in the big wide open, but it's something I'd actually quite like your input with. So in the comment section below, I want you to get stuck into this and see whether this is something that maybe resonates with any of you guys, or if you think maybe it's just a complete load of old nonsense, really. So obviously at the moment we've got a little bit of a situation with the manager, Julian Lopetegui. He's obviously under a great deal of pressure, lost the game at Leicester. The away fans were singing "Sacked in the Morning." And I think when that happens, probably the writing's on the wall, in all honesty. And it's then just a matter of time. The board have since come out and said that they're going to give him the Wolves game. But obviously other reports have come out saying that we approached at least one manager, and the manager in question was purported to be Graham Potter. Now, it would appear, and like I say, certain reports indicate that he was offered a 6-month deal and he's turned it down. There have been other reports that have been a little bit contrary to that, but the bottom line is that come the Wolverhampton Wanderers game, it will be Julian Lopetegui who will be in the dugout. Now, whether he stays in position much longer than that, I do have my doubts. I think that the writing is on the wall. I think that his time will come to an end. Even if he wins against Wolverhampton Wanderers, let's be completely honest, when you look at the fixtures that are upcoming, Bournemouth, Brighton, Liverpool, is it conceivable that all of a sudden the form of West Ham from that point on will get significantly better? The results will improve, the performances will improve. I sincerely doubt it. And as I say, Graham Potter's one of the names that's been linked. But one of the things that seems to be put in his direction as far as a criticism is concerned, and apparently this is something that David Sullivan has alluded to, is that he believes that Graham Potter was someone that was quite lucky, quite fortunate to be at a club like Brighton and Hove Albion with all of the component pieces that were operating around him. Now, one of those component pieces today lost his job at Manchester United, and I'm talking about Dan Ashworth. Now, we currently have someone operating in that particular role at West Ham, and his name is Tim Steighton. But there's been a few things that have happened with Tim in the previous 18 months or so of his tenure. He's obviously fell out with David Moyes. He's obviously fell out with Julian Lopetegui. If you also factor in that it was not Tim Steidten that actually put Julian Lopetegui in position. Indeed, he actually apparently conveyed that it was an appointment that was something he wasn't fully on board with. Now, I then sort of like have to take a step back and ask the question, okay, well, is this possibly an opportunity to maybe hit the reset button as far as things are concerned? And now that Dan Ashworth is out of a job, and I don't know if there's a gardening leave period, that may be something that we have to try and combat and negotiate with. But I'm just sort of like sitting here and thinking, is there maybe scope to possibly move Tim Steidten on as well as Julian Lopetegui, and then bring in Graham Potter and Dan Ashworth, who obviously worked so well together at Brighton and Hove Albion? Is that possibly something that we could look to do? Now, it may well be, as I say, that if there is a gardening leave period, is there the possibility that we could get Potter in and maybe look to get Ashworth in position for the summer? I don't know. As I say, I suspect that with Sullivan, he would be quite reluctant to have to shell out for compensation for two people, let alone one. But I'm just looking at it and I'm asking the question that is this possibly an opportunity? Because everybody holds Brighton and Hove Albion up as some sort of beacon of how a club should be run. So if we have two of the very people that were there back in the day when it was all unfolding, the technical director and the first team coach, could we possibly become that particular a sort of like a slightly... Because let's be honest, and I'm not trying to decry Brighton and Hove Albion here, but we are a bigger club than them. So could we become a bigger, better version of Brighton and Hove Albion by literally just picking up two of the component pieces, transferring? I appreciate that there's a lot more to it than that, and that, you know, getting two people in doesn't completely change the whole dynamic of the football club, but it's a start. It's a start, and I'm just wondering if this is an opportunity that maybe, if we're going to go with Graham Potter, could we possibly get Dan Ashworth in and get him doing what he did previously at Brighton and Hove Albion when Graham Potter was there? Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your thoughts. But then there's another little thing that's come into focus as far as if we're going to go for a new manager. Now, this is a manager that hasn't actually been linked with us yet. And as I say, this is an opinion piece. This is me just throwing things out there into the ether, little ideas, little thoughts that are bubbling around in my head, and trying to get your take on it and just sort of like see whether there's a consensus as whether this is possibly something that has legs or maybe not. And this is why I want to get it out there for you guys to have a little chat about. So it's a manager that was very, very tentatively linked with us after David Moyes won the Conference League. And there was obviously some talk around about that time, is that were we going to move him on, or is he going to stay and complete the last year, which obviously he did. A manager that is someone that plays the sort of football that West Ham fans would enjoy watching, front foot football, although it could be argued maybe a little bit naive defensively, is one of the criticisms that I think would be levelled at him. And another thing that would be something that I think this particular manager would be something that West Ham fans would be quite happy with was that he is a manager that isn't afraid of putting youth players into the starting 11. He's done it this season. But then when I mention the name of the manager in question, I suspect that there will be an awful lot of people watching this that will sit bolt upright and go, absolutely not. We wouldn't want this guy. And his name is Ange Postecoglou. Now, he is under an awful lot of pressure at Tottenham Hotspur at the minute. In fact, as I record this, they've just been beaten by Chelsea at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium from 2-0 up. They've lost the game 4-3. This obviously follows the match in midweek when they were beaten away at Bournemouth. And there was some criticism, shall we say, that came from the away support, and Postecoglou went over there, confronted the fans, said what he said, and I do again wonder whether possibly it's a matter of time before Postecoglou's out of a job. Now, again, I'm just throwing this out there for consideration. Is it possible that our next manager is just a short distance down the North Circular? Is it possible that if Ange Postecoglou became available, could he be someone that would be interested in taking the job at West Ham? Should it be that Julian Lopetegui is kicked into touch? I appreciate, like I say, he's got his weaknesses. He does appear to have one plan, which is just basically attack. But we've been crying out for quite some time of a manager playing front foot, attacking football. Now, he would absolutely do that. He would also bring youth into the first 11. I was hopeful that when Lopetegui got the job, given his backstory as a coach of the Spain under-21s and other youth grade teams, that he might have seen his way to pulling some of the youth talent that we've clearly got, having won the FA Youth Cup and the Premier League South only 2 seasons ago, that he would have been someone putting some of the youth players into the first team. That hasn't happened. Yet you look at Tottenham, and to be fair, Postecoglou has done that at Tottenham. He's put youth players in, and he's utilised them in the first 11. Again, these are things that I think fans would be quite happy with. But I do wonder whether there will be an element of support. In fact, I know that there will be an element of the support that would just look at the fact that he's a former Tottenham Hotspur manager and just say, we absolutely don't want that. And it just strikes me as a little bit strange, because I remember there was obviously Tottenham had a West Ham manager not so long ago, Harry Redknapp. Now, Harry Redknapp, steeped in West Ham traditions, came through the academy in the 60s, played for us in the 60s and 70s, came back as a coach under Billy Bonds, took over from Billy Bonds, managed us in Europe, and eventually there was a parting of the ways in about 2000, 2001. But he was someone that was absolutely claret and blue through and through at that point in time. He then went to Tottenham. I don't remember too many Tottenham supporters grumbling about Harry going there. I don't remember too many Tottenham supporters complaining when he took them to the Champions League for the first time in their history. So, if it's the other way round, why should we turn our nose up at a former Tottenham manager? If he's going to come in and he's going to provide us with the type of football that we want, if he's going to pull some youth players into the first team, and okay, maybe defensively we have to accept that we're a little bit open, we're a little bit prone to, if we're playing against the bigger teams in the Premier League, that maybe we're going to get our asses handed to us on a plate. But against the other teams, we're going to have a go. Is that not a price worth paying? That we would have to maybe sort of take on a manager that's got that connection to one of our arch rivals? I don't know. I'm throwing it out there as a suggestion. I'm throwing it out there for consideration. You tell me what you think. If Ange Postecoglou was on the market tomorrow and Lopetegui's kicked into touch shortly after the Wolves game, is it something that you would be on board with? Postecoglou to West Ham. What do you think? Get your comments in the section below. Please also consider hitting the subscribe button if you're new around here. Don't forget to drop a like on the stream and give us your thoughts on those particular musings of mine. As I say, these are not things that are out there. I'm not saying this is out there as a news story. This is not in any publication that I've seen. This is just from the old grey matter up here. Just my thoughts, and I'd like to know what yours are. Anyway, thanks for your time. We'll see you again soon. Come on, you Irons.
Irons Supporting Food Banks collects food and cash donations for needy families in Newham Borough and beyond. Please consider making a donation via their Just Giving page, the link for which you will find in the description section of this stream. Come on, you Irons.
West Ham are massive, everywhere we go. West Ham are